Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have another interesting video. This is not a diagnosis, which I already did. This car is a 2009 BMW 535 X-Drive. It's a N54 engine. Serial will be, a model will be an E60. The customer complaint was car is overheating. So what I end up doing, let me get into the capture. So what I ended up doing was just, a pressure test. I left the car and I found the rear turbo coolant line is just pouring the fluid. The catalytic converters are covered with coolant, and I mean, it's nothing you can do. The lines of the coolant system for the turbo, they gotta be replaced. In order to do that, we need to remove the cowl space in here, get these bars out. We need to remove this cover because the engine needs to be supported. Make sure you guys are seeing that. Hopefully the focus is fine because I lock it. So we will have a thread in here that we can use the same hook that you use for the towing in order to lift the engine, because we need to remove the motor mount and the bracket from that side to get the catalytic converters out and the turbos as well. We need to drain the coolant. It calls to remove the expansion tank. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't do it. So we'll see how it goes, because that is it's good to do it to gain access for the oxygen sensor connections and so when you're removing the catalytic converters. But we'll see. So again, I will try to show the majority of the repair and see how it goes. Hopefully you guys like the content. All right, guys, I'm gonna see how this works. As you can see, sorry if I got in the way in there. I got some of the stuff already removed. I removed the axle, which is pretty simple. What I usually do is just remove the uh, the bottom rod or lower control arm. I mean, they got different names, depends on the manufacturer, so it doesn't matter. Just this, because these will allow you to push the axle out of the hub without taking much out. So it's just this, leave the rest connected. Now my next goal is to remove the bottom um, part of the car oil pan to get that next bar out of the way. I need to remove also the motor mount. I haven't drained the coolant, which I know is it's not too much, but there will be some. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have some differential fluid coming out of this way. Most likely it will. I have a tray on the bench ready to collect all the bolts and nuts that I'm going to be taking apart. For that one, I need a longer reach and going into the hole. This is just the upper. Uh, it's the same as a 13 millimeter bolt. Yeah, I got it right there. Sorry if I won't show you the whole process, but guys, this is it's like a 17-hour total repair. So I had to squeeze that into the hole. Went to a real short video. I'm so happy with the Movie Pro app that I'm using on my phone, because now I don't hear myself. They did an update and finally I can now just uh, deselect the headphone part, so it uses only the microphone and not the speakers itself, which was really messing with my brain. It's hard to think and hear yourself at the same time. So just in case we got some oil, I'm gonna put a container under it. I don't think we will, but all right, so perfectly. So as you can see, this is how that looks. Sorry if my light gets in the way, but I know that's it. So the next thing to do is get some of that coolant out. We need to remove both of the catalytic converters. I mean, everything is coming out. So we need to try to make as much as room as we can on this car since it's the X drive. So we got the axle, and that's why I removed that. But you can see it's nothing outrageously hard to do. Oof. So let me stop the video, and I need to get still that tool in there to support the engine, and let me put the engine support. All right, guys. So I end up using mine, and I had to grind this because of the tread of this one. It hits on the cylinder head, and you want to make sure that you go all the way in. You're raising the engine, you put in your hands and your life in there, so you want to make sure that you're safe. So that is threaded all the way in, and now I have to get my engine support ready. So I got the bracket out of the spot that I keep. It always is on top of one of the cabinets here in the shop. So what I usually do, I'm not sure if I'm going to be on the capture yet or not, is I set it almost in front of the car to see if the length is about right, and it is. This is a very nice mount. So just put it here, kind of like walk it. It has rubber legs, so not too worried about it. But always good to be careful. This can you can release it and start putting it on place. This is a swabbing transverse engine mount. Yep. It has all type of adjustments, which is great. This one you can adjust the height, the ones on the front. And one other thing we can do is to slide the bar forward, because definitely going to need that. So everything needs to be loosened up pretty much to be able to put it where we need it, which is obviously on top of that. So let me guys set this up, and I'll be right back. I'm pretty close to what I needed. So one thing that I want to explain, I always try to look for strong areas where you're going to put your support. Like this side is pretty hollow until you reach this point, and obviously you got the drains in here. So right next to this drain, they had to make a very strong support. So after the holes of the drains, and on the front, I use, because this is like the front support, so it has a very strong base for it. No matter what, I mean, I will be just removing one engine mount, not the entire engine, but still, you have to be very careful. So one nice thing, we can just get this here, and this is what we need. So this also has some other attachments for, like, if you cannot use this type of support, it has the regular A type. I'll show you in a second. It's a very good support. I really like it, and the price is unbearable. It's like $280. I'll put a link on the description. So right now all I'm going to do is just raise the engine a little bit, not too much, because the engine mounts are still there, but now everything is nice and tight. Up tight all the knobs, make sure nothing is loose, and then we're ready to go to work underneath. Now I can drain the coolant and I start working under it. But I mean, set up the support. I keep it always together. The only thing that I remove, I don't keep with it, is this, or not in there, because otherwise it's kind of like in the way. But I usually just hook it here. I make these ones go on the side straight, and I put them on top of the cabinet, and against the wall, fits perfect, not an issue. All right, guys, let me raise the car and see what we can do from underneath. I got a cash can, on top of the oil. I don't know, drain tool. Now let's remove one hose, because this one, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have a drain on the radiator. Well, actually it does. But either way, I'm gonna have to be working in here, so probably a hook for a hose is better. Can move this out of the way. I usually just go over to the thermostat one. In the thermostat housing, we have a very easy to get hose. Well, kind of. That's a little too big. All this is gonna have to be removed. Sorry if I'm in your way, but part of the deal, right? I'm using just a small hook this time and it worked perfect. I can put this under it, and I use a big pry bar to lose the connection on the hose and the thermostat. I hope it's not a call on my phone. No, I don't think so. Sounds like a WhatsApp call. So like I said, I just make sure you know that it's loose, which I can move this a little bit out of the way. Yeah, I can see the hose coming out. Perfect. I just go like, you look the connection on the hose is going to be round like this. So I put the pry bar on the side and just shake it because it's a no ring. All this holding it right now since the clip is released. All right, perfect. That should be good enough because I don't want to make the mess completely without this in here. All right, now I can. Now what I'm gonna do is lower the car, put this on the floor, and like that is less spillage. All right, guys. I have the coolant remove. Or drain. I put a couple of pick towels in the floor. I end up removing the rear hose on the pump. Remember that this has an electrical pump. So I had the hose for the thermostat disconnected and the elbow. You'll see if you're looking, if you have one of these cars, you know what I'm referring. If you're not familiar with BMW, I will put a picture on somewhere in here so you guys can see it. It looks, like I said, it's just an elbow. I'm just trying to dry up some of that coolant, so I'm not going to be drinking that. Okay, so right now I have the engine support installed. I'm just looking around, see what else will make my life easy to remove all that. I look in the information on Identifix, and it doesn't refer about removing the subframe, which right now I have actually the motor mount set up, or sorry, the engine bracket set up. So if I want to, I can do that. And I'm thinking on doing it all literally. I will, if I do that, just remove the rack and pinion from this engine bracket or subframe and try to leave it in there, which I think in this car, nope, it doesn't. It has to come down with it. Okay, I'm just looking at the subframe itself in here. No, it doesn't allow me to do that. So never mind, disregard what I just said. So let's proceed with the plan as Identifix shows it, which is removing the engine mount on this side and the engine bracket. I can remove also, and most likely the catalytic converters as well. So let's put some WD-40 on this thread that always are a nightmare. And I have found that it works really well if you apply the WD-40 and let it just do its magic. I love WD-40. For me, it's the best product to remove stubborn, rusted, and heated stuff like that. Yeah, that's the right one. Feel a little loose. So I'm going to be able, not able, I'm going to be doing a lot of the disassemble. and I'm gonna keep putting different trays, and that's how I separate one from the other, so I don't have to be guessing always what one is for or not. I mean, in the case of 10 millimeter balls or so, I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory. You don't need that. But when it comes to like the balls that hold the coolant hoses line, the coolant hoses, or what is that called? It's like a manifold. You'll see next to the turbos. I think it's like 3 different lengths. So you need to make sure that you are putting the correct fastener in place. Oh, this is just full of oil. Sorry for that. I told my manager and the customer that his valve cover needs to be replaced. Obviously, he just got into so much with this that we're not doing that right now, but it will happen. He's a good customer. So I'm just losing or releasing the oxygen sensors. All I'm gonna do with those is disconnect them. So again, let me take the catalytic converters out if I can. So we have 412. Let me make sure I'm doing that right. I'm pretty sure they're 12s. Yeah, 12s on the back, and then the clamp on the turbo, and the upstream O2s. I'm gonna have to lower the car to disconnect those, and then just bring the catalytic converters down. We have a bracket in here as well. It is always a nightmare to get, but I have those swivels from a Snap-on. Matco sells this in Cornwall as well. Either brand you prefer. I like a Snap-on because it's just easy, and I have a Snap-on and Matco coming over the shop, so it's not a problem. Either one, good quality. Wow, it is a lot of oil in here. And let me see. It's just so much oil, it's hard to grab. All right, guys, let me stop the video so you're not looking just at me disconnecting things. All right, guys, I don't know how much you're going to be able to see, but so I got the electric water pump out and the thermostat. Let me show you how this looks. So this is the thermostat with a curved hose, and this is the electric water pump. This is held by two E12s. The thermostat is held on the water pump by two 10 millimeters. I already removed the catalytic converter to muffler connections. Those are the 12s and the two 10s on the top. I also got these hoses out of the way, so you get the pump and the thermostat easier out. It's just a 10 here and a 10 on this bracket. I mean, you can just leave the hoses hanging in there. You need to unplug the pump connection and the thermostat connection. What else? I lose up the hose for the intake to the turbo. This is, a flat or a 8. I'm about to get the motor mount out. That one is held by two E10s and a 17 on the top, which the motor mount itself I got loose and I already went up and raised up the engine a little bit. And as far as the engine side bracket, it looks like a E14. Let me show you what an E14 means. That's the socket. Hopefully, as you can see, it's a reverse torque or torch. So we have two easy to access. And I mean, actually, the whole thing is easy to access. I also remove one of the cat to turbo bolt. That's a 13 millimeter. I need an extension for the middle bolt. And the clamp is really stuck into it, so I am just leaving those with WD-40 for the meantime. I was checking the recording, make sure that you guys can hear me well. Not sure how the audio is picking up, but hopefully it's good. All right, so I'm using a short extension because I cannot get the, it's like a stubby 3/8. All right. I will be also showing all the specs as far as torque, because this is a job you want to make sure that you're torquing everything to the right specs. Engine brackets, catalytic converters, exhaust manifold, turbos. These are like so hard to get. I mean, the labor itself speak by, for what I'm doing. 17 hours, unbelievable. But I mean, it is very labor intensive. They just pack up these engines so much into such a small places that, yeah, when you need to do something, it's just hurts your pocket. If you're buying, uh, European vehicle, try to get it before the 50,000 mile mark, so you will get and put an extended warranty on it. When you get it before the 50,000, you can get a premium coverage because you're still under the manufacturer warranty. But by doing that, I mean, you have to just be before the 50,000. Well, it all depends on the manufacturer. But then you will get the coverage you're looking for all these repairs. Because all you have to do is just call insurance. They will come, ask us to give an estimate, and it will be covered. Yes, I know the extended warranties are not cheap. Definitely they're not. Believe me, I have one in my BMW, but I mean, truly, any repair you do in a BMW, it will be more than what you put them into your extended warranty. All right, so these are the bolts that go there, and this is the motor mount bracket. So far, everything is going smooth, but I think now the fun part starts, which is removing those catalytic converters. Let me get this motor mount out of here. I did request water pump, thermostat, all the hoses in here, non-negotiable. I don't know about these motor mounts or the water pump itself. That is not in my call, it's the customer call. Motor mounts itself doesn't look bad. And I understand, I mean, it adds up, but I mean, you will have to pay a huge labor to do anything that you can do now. Just get the parts. But again, not my call. All right, so let me see if I can lose that clamp. I'm gonna do it live with you guys. So what I usually do is try to get a position so I can get the pry bar onto the. Uh... Okay, guys, I just want to show you a little bit. Okay, I got the cats out. So as you can see, we've been having a huge leaks. Look at that auto in there, this one in there, and this is all coolant. That one is the one that has, I think, a lot of more side on the other side. I don't want to like hit it too hard. Yeah, this one is now. This one is the one. I mean, look at all this oil mass and coolant. Let me show you now on the car what is the hose that is leaking before I drop this catalytic converters. One of the studs broke, but I can put that on the press, heat it out, and then put a new one. Not a big deal. And this is how this looks in here. So the hose that is leaking, try to position myself so you guys can see, is this one. All right, guys, so let me continue. What else I can show you? I mean, that's the axle I think I show when I remove it. Pretty easy, those are steps easy. And I'm trying to keep everything as much as possible organized. So let me keep going. All right, guys, I got one of the turbos out, which is the one in the back. I'm going to show you. Well, before I show you things, let me just go back a little bit because I have probably not said, when you're working on this, make sure that your battery is disconnected. Before you bring the car up, make sure that both O2s, the upstream O2s are disconnected and you are routing the wires from the engine bay down so you will be able to pull the cats because otherwise it's going to be impossible. When you're removing the catalytic converters, I mean, not the catalytic converters, the turbos. Where's my headlight? I'm sorry, guys, it's gonna be shaky, but for not stopping the video, let me do it. All right, so in order to get the turbo out, not sure how this is going to look. I'm trying to play with the light a little bit. You need to remove all the studs that hold the turbo in place. Let me show you the other one. So you got that copper nut and then the stud, because otherwise the turbo is not gonna come out. Be careful when you're removing this turbo, especially the one in the back, because you need to remove this 10 millimeter. Again, in order to get that hose, in all the hoses, no matter what, when you're replacing oil or any leak in here, you need to replace all the hoses. Don't ever try to replace one because believe me, you will pay that very expensive. So that's it. I mean, the intake charge pipe that goes on the top of the turbos, because let's say, that's that connection right here. That's your intake. So it's coming from the air filter and then move and then to the pressurized system, which will go to the intercoolers, right? So those are those two hoses. This is just a coolant manifold that you need to remove. This is one of the first things you remove. I'm sorry again that I couldn't record everything, but sometimes it's impossible in the shop life. Yeah, that's mean it's like and probably what I do is I would write the instructions down as I remember how I took everything apart. You will see because I was showing through the process of the video one by one. I will probably put, a note, first step, remove this. Then when I do that, third step, remove this, remove that. Like that is easier on this short video because I cannot put a 17-hour video, guys. So, all right. And I think this is it. I'm not going to show the removal of the other turbo, which is just pretty much the same thing. I still got to remove it no matter what. But this is what you need to do. All right, guys. And I'm not going to be doing an installation because it's just a reverse order. And I have another one. I'm not sure if it's a 5 Series or not, but it's the same N54 engine. So the only difference we got here, this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. The other one wasn't. So it's a lot easier. But I will put a link on the description at the bottom of this video so you guys can see that too. All right, see you next time. Bye bye.